Dr. Tokach, thanks for joining us this morning. PEDV got into the U.S. about a year ago. Kind of walk us through getting here and kind of where we're at today.
Yes, it did start in the United States. First identification was in mid-May of last year, but we found out that it actually came here earlier. The earliest known is probably early April of 2013. We do know that it came from China. We still don't know exactly how it got here, but they found out that it came from China by matching the DNA profiles, and they found out basically the exact province where it came from in China. So there's still a lot of work to be done to determine exactly how PEDV or any other disease, for that matter, could come into the United States and how to prevent it in the future.
Well, we want to remind everybody that this is not an issue that we need to be concerned about as far as consumers go.
That's exactly right. This is a disease that affects baby pigs predominantly, and so we have very high mortality in baby pigs with this disease, but it is not a food safety concern. It is not transferable to humans, and that is very important for people to know.
Research being done here at Kansas State University.
We're doing several different research projects at Kansas State. In the vet school, there's a very active group of virologists that are working with the PEDV. Dr. Dick Hesse is leading up a lot of that group in order to try to understand the profiles, trying to understand a little bit of how it is transferred, how it moves from animal to animal or within a group of pigs, and then also to understand how long the profile, how long immunity lasts or of the disease, and then we're also working with Dr. Hesse on the feed side, grouping together with our group in the grain science department and also with our group here in animal science to try to determine whether we can process the feed to prevent transfer through the feed ingredients. And so things we're doing there is determining the exact pelleting temperature or conditioning time, or in terms of whether we can treat individual feed ingredients to lessen the potential that they would bring PEDV into a farm.
Well, not only feed, but transportation and other issues seem to be a way to spread the disease.
That's
as well.
Exactly right. You want to make sure people understand that feed is one way that we can move PEDV into an operation, but it's much more likely that it's moved in through transportation or through other pigs entering into a farm. And so we want to know that PEDV is what they call a fecal oral disease, and so it comes out in the feces of the pig. So anytime you have access to those feces, either by picking up the virus on your boots or on your clothes, it can be transferred into another group of pigs just by being in contact with pigs and then moving into a group that has not seen the disease before.
So good biosecurity at your own facilities is a good place to start.
That's exactly right. Biosecurity is by far the most important aspect, and not having access to pigs that have had the disease.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to finish up with Dr. Tokach here at Kansas State University. We're going to talk about some of the other research going on. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
Some of the research that you guys are doing here, it has to start somewhere, and you guys are doing some research on the feed side. Tell us about that.
Well, we have two main projects that I'll share with you. One of them is being led by Dr. Cassie Jones from the Grain Science Department, and what she's looking at is, are there various feed ingredients that we can add to the diet, either during processing or at the end of processing, that would help to eliminate any contamination of PEDV that happens in the feed, either, again, coming into the diet with an ingredient, or maybe contamination in a feed mill after the feed has been made. And so a product that may be able to kill that virus before it gets to the pigs. And so she's doing some of that work in her BSL-2 lab in the Grain Science Department. We're also doing a second project, is one that's also funded by the National Pork Board, similar to Dr. Jones's study. This project is led by Dr. Jason Woodworth here in Animal Science, and we're looking at conditioning times and temperatures to try to determine if we can heat the feed long enough or condition it long enough at a high enough temperature to kill any PEDV that may be coming in with a feed ingredient or again through contamination. That experiment is going to be done in our BSL-3 facility here on campus.
BSL-2 and BSL-3, explain to us what that means.
Yeah, well, those are terms for a biosafety level 2 or biosafety level 3. What that means is that we're dealing with a pathogen that can be transmitted in the BSL-2, and it's a pathogen that can be transmitted to other animals, and so we could do that in our facilities, but prevent it from contaminating our own swine herd. And so we have a multiple BSL-2 facilities on campus that we could do these type of research trials in. The BSL-3 facility, we only have one of those facilities. There's only a few of those in the country, and that facility is where we can bring in small-scale pellet mills, and we can bring in animals and feed this feed with the virus to the animals, and do that in a safe manner where we can clean it up afterwards and know that we don't contaminate again any of our own animals. The BSL-3 facilities, you normally use pathogens that can be transmitted also to humans, but since this is a disease, we don't worry about the humans, but we use that facility just because it has the size that allows us to bring our larger equipment into.
Future of the U.S. swine herd. It's probably hard to tell now, but where do you think it's going?
Well, with the PEDV, it is very hard to tell exactly what's going to happen. We do believe that about 50 to 60% of our swine herd has been infected with this disease, and it's killed about 7% of the pigs in the last year, and the baby pigs is what the thoughts are. The good part about it is that the pigs do develop some immunity after they have been exposed with the disease. We don't know yet just exactly how long that immunity lasts, but we are very hopeful that because we've learned so much in the last year, we know that we'll be able to handle the disease much easier than what we have in the past. And it really doesn't kill adult animals at all. And so sows have come back very good from the disease. So we think that the pig herd will recover very, very well. Grow finished pigs, there's been almost no impact on them from the disease, and so again, it's really only affects the baby pigs in the farrowing house, but it has been very devastating for the producers that have been impacted at that level.